First of all, a very good afternoon to all of you that will be watching this video. This is Steve, and this gentleman's name I've forgotten already.
Alan.
This is Alan and Steve, and what we're going to do is discuss a few questions and give you a little bit of inside information on wartime, which is a video I've just had the pleasure to have finished. We're at the Essex University now. It's Saturday, and we're having a lovely time. And Steve and Alan have decided that we should come out and do this outside interview. So to any of you that will be watching this, hello, hope you enjoy it. And I'm now going to ask Alan for the first question. So welcome to the machine, and off we go. Yes, Alan.
Firstly, are you glad that it stopped raining?
I think, well, I love rain, you see. Do you realise is if our nose had been put on upside down, every time it rained, we'd drown?
I've noticed that.
Okay, Alan.
Yes,
nice to be here with you.
Yes, wartime.
Yes.
How long have you been involved with it then now?
Well, if you're asking like when it was done, oh, I've got the mic, why am I shouting? I'm thinking the mic's on, excuse me viewers, I'm thinking the mic's on the camera. Excuse me.
You've got it.
Wartime was done on May the 14th last year, in other words 1987. And it happened on a 3-day location shoot up in on Lord Leverhulme's estate, which is what the estate that was used to be owned by the Lever, the people that make all your Personal and your Omo, and he was a multi-billionaire.
Oh, those.
And Keith Barnfather very cleverly chose this as a location. And we went up there for 3 days with the old Benton uniform and the story and not a lot of rehearsal. And we set to with the energy and the absolute dynamism that came out of the crew, who all gave their services for nothing, as indeed I almost did. I've already told you what I earned, we don't need to repeat that. And it was a magic 3 days, because 4 hours after I'd finished, I had to be on a plane to Miami to go on a ship, because I was not very well, and I'd had no work in England, and I was feeling destitute and lost, and I went and called bingo on a ship and went around the whole of South America. So I can't believe I did it, and it sounds like a joke, I know, but wartime was a wonderful 3 days.
If the wartime was shot last May, why has it been so long in production?
Well, I understand, Alan, that what happened is I didn't know, because I left for Miami, and I was there for 9 months. And when I got to Mexico, I phoned Keith, and I had only one concern about wartime, that the music would not be appropriate to the energy put into it. And because I'm an audiovisual producer, of which Stephen here on my left has witnessed, and whether you like them or not, the music in my audiovisuals is very strong. And I believe strong music is one of the greatest gifts mankind has. So I phoned Keith and I said, look, whatever happens, even if I look a fool in this, the music's got to be good. Well, I cannot tell you, the music is the star of this program. It stars the music, John Levene, Michael Wisher, and the crew. That's how the cast goes. The reason it was so long is there were pre-production problems, because the editing took quite a lot of doing, because we only had 3 days of shooting when we needed another 2. So what happened is Keith had to, and what happened is the story came out better because of the work that Keith Barnfather, at his editing suite, of which he's brilliant at, he managed to maintain excellence out of the shoot. Okay.
Right. Do you do all your own stunts like you did in the show?
Yes, Steve, I did, for no other reason than Keith had booked a Doctor Who fan who was particularly a fan of Benton, because when he was younger, before he was a stuntman, he used to think that Benton was quite brave in terms of an actor to do my own stunts, because I got hurt, as I've told you a dozen times. Quite often I very badly bruised my elbow, which I'm suffering from now, funnily enough. And I did a lot of, they weren't dangerous stunts, but when it came to a fight, you only have to fall wrong and hurt yourself. So I decided I would definitely do my own stunt. Now, the fight scene took 20 minutes to rehearse and about a half an hour to shoot, and I think the fight scene looks pretty good. And yes, I do my own stunts, because you cannot have a double, can you? If if all I've got to do is fall on the ground and go, ah, I might as well do them myself. So yes, I do my own stunts.
Do you think it's likely that wartime may be the start of a series for a new unit series?
I don't know whether it'll be a unit series, Alan, because I don't know whether BBC would let it be called Unit. But in all honesty, the only thing that ever sells or is liked is something that is liked or is good. In other words, if the fans are going to like John Levene, and Michael Wisher, by the way, Michael Wisher was bloody brilliant. Do you know? Who's seen it? Which one? Oh, of course, nobody's seen it yet, have they? So nobody knows. But Michael Wisher is wonderful in it, and I tell you, there's a scene at the end where even my own friends turned round and said, wow, what a scene. Because you know I can't act, Steve. You know my turning out of dialogue is... Well, no, I mean, you say I can, but doing dialogue is so difficult. And there's a scene at the end of this. Hi. Do you want to be on camera? And I enjoyed it, and I loved it. And yes, I'd love it to be a series. And I'll tell you why I'd like it to be a series. If the Brigadier and Sergeant Benton represent a bit of wonderful history, then while we're alive, I must say I think it's silly not to have UNIT back in Doctor Who, and that's got nothing to do with the I'm in UNIT. I just think UNIT worked. I think Nick Courtney has presence on screen. I've even decided I've got a bit of presence on screen. Having thought I was so bad for so many times, I now realise that I'm not embarrassed at all about wartime, and in fact I'm very proud, and it's nice to see me looking older. It's nice to see Benton go from 29 to 47. I think it's great. I'm very happy with it.
I mean, you must... Sorry.
Sorry, you go.
Oh dear.
Hang on, we're going to have a stereo question here.
Yes,
Yes, we're going to fight over this question.
How dare you ask me?
Take me seconds to think of this question. Do you think that Doctor Who and UNIT they can both exist at the same time, and the BBC could release Doctor Who on video, non-UNIT stories, but real time could also, you know, sort of go out to a big market?
Well, Steve, first of all, I've told you before I'm not a businessman per se, which is why I'm not, you know, very well off. There's two things in life that keep me going. Honesty, which I adopted as a friend, because once you tell the truth, it's easy to live. I would love a series to spin off from this. I would love an independent television station to come up and say, look, John Levene and Nick Courtney, we're not going to reach 10 million viewers, but we're going to reach 1.5. And if I thought I could be Benton again, I'd love it. I mean, I'd act my heart out. Honestly, I would act like Al Pacino, who Steve looks very much like, by the way. In fact, the only trouble is he looks better on camera than I do, which is an insult.
oh, sorry.
No, that's... No.
I think that wartime's going to be very popular.
Do you? No, do you?
Honestly...
Do you know I have no thoughts on it, and I'll tell you why. I don't want to be disappointed, and I don't want to be... In other words, I have no idea. Because of my attitude about myself, which is now beginning, as you've noticed, I'm getting more confident about myself. But I look at wartime, I watched it once, and it knocked me out. Then I looked at other bits and saw the few mistakes I'd made, and a couple of lines in it which aren't that good. And I suddenly realised, if only I'd have known. But yes, there's a magic in wartime. I'll tell you what wartime is. It's a bit of guts. It's a bit of guts and integrity. And I'm glad I'm the star of it. And when I say star, of course, that's only a word you use if you get more pictures on the screen than anybody else. I don't star in it. Michael Wisher and the music are. And I'm not saying this to be modest. Yes, Benton.
You are.
No, no, I'm not. Because Benton looks good. I'm happy with myself. There are certain scenes there where, I mean, I nearly laugh sometimes when I see it. But there's a couple there, they're close up, and I look a little bit like Clint Eastwood, you know. And I thought, well, that's good enough. A little small commercial break here. You may be interested to know that I have a new watch here. It's got a lifetime guarantee. When the mainspring goes, it slashes your wrist. Very nice. I must get a small hand put on it, of course.
Well, I think...
Right, Alan, to close this interview,
yes,
thank you for being patient, viewers. I don't know who's going to be watching this, but welcome to Doctor Who. My name is John Levene. I played Sergeant Benton, just in case you didn't know, because it was 20 years ago. Steve and Alan have been kind enough to ask me to do this video. I hope I've not been too gushing and too overpowering, but it's very exciting times for me. I'm twice as old as these two young men, and I'm enjoying myself more now than I ever have. Wartime has given me inspiration. And if it's the beginning of a new UNIT era, I can only say that anything good is needed, and I'm happy to go along with it. So I'd like to say once more, thank you very much indeed for watching. I'm going to take the microphone off, but before I do, I'm going to go back and thank Steve and Alan for the interview. See you in a second. Thank you, Steve, very much indeed.
John, thank you for
Get you
doing
on
that,
camera.
time out of your...
Thank you, Alan, very much indeed.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. I'll see you again.